Okay, so we're making good progress now. So now we want to start interacting with our server. So by the way, my Java server is running, and since I've been testing the fact that we can submit project tasks, I do have a handful of project tasks in my database right now, and we're gonna need this in this lecture. So in this lecture, what we're going to do, we're going to set up our backlog actions to set up the API call to the server. Then we're going to set up the project board in a way that we can at least see our list of, say, projects or project tasks, sorry, on our state. Okay, and I think that that's where we're gonna leave things at in this lecture. Okay, so just as a quick reminder, I think we can close this right now. We can close this right now, and so we are basically going to be setting up this action, which is get backlog, which what's going to do is going to load the project tasks array in our state. All right, so we already have this going for us, and then in our types we already have both the get backlog, the get project task, and the delete project task. So we're gonna go to the backlog item, and we're gonna bring the next action that we're gonna use, which is the get backlog one, and then we're gonna start wiring up our API call. Right? If you remember correctly, which I'm sure you do, when we were testing this, you need to get the backlog by ID, and when you get the backlog by ID, which is this is a project that we have on our database right now, and I just want to show you again. Right? I show you this just a few seconds ago, and that's a project in our database. So when we make this API call, then we get a list of all the project tasks that we have in that specific project. Okay, so this is basically what we're going to wire up for React and Redux to extract for us. Okay, so here under the add project task function, we're going to create export const, and let me see if I have the imports that I need. Yes, I do. Get backlog. Perfect. Export const get backlog, and then this one's going to take the backlog ID. And again, I don't want you guys to know this out of context or get this from me out of context. The backlog ID, which is the project identifier. Good. And then we're going to pass it the dispatch. Okay, dispatch. All right, and then of course we are going to do our try catch here, because remember, if we pass it a project identifier that is not correct, then we want this to throw some errors. Or although we're not going to really work with that right this or at least on this video. Okay, because the whole handling of errors is going to be it's going to be, I think that one's going to be a lecture on its own for this specific case. Okay, so const response, and then await, right? Axios dot get, and then we're going to use backticks again, and then here the API call is API slash backlog slash $ curly braces, and then the backlog ID that we're passing. Good. All right, now with this in place, then what we want to do next in our happy path is we want to dispatch our get backlog action type get backlog, comma, and then we want the payload for this to be the res.data. Okay, so with that in place, every time we do this call, we're gonna get the same as, obviously, when we make that call with a legitimate project identifier, then we're gonna get a list of project tasks if there are any. Okay, so with that in place, now we need to go to our project board, and we need to connect our project board to our state. So in our project board, let me close the reducer and the types because we don't need that anymore, at least not right now. So we are gonna bring, I'm almost done with this flu, guys. I promise I'm gonna stop sneezing on you. I promise. Connect from React Redux, because we need to connect to our state. Connect our component to our state. We need our prop types. Oh, and then we also need our action, the one that we just created, which I'm gonna just copy and paste to be on the safe side. And then this is gonna come from // actions right there. Good. And then obviously our backlog actions. Perfect. Then the next thing that we're going to do, as I mentioned, is connect this to our store. So we want to wrap this in parentheses. And then we want to connect. Let's put a null for now so it doesn't break. And then we're going to pass it our action, which is get backlog. Then we want to map the state to props. We're going to pass it the state. So parameter is arrow function. And then we're going to pass in here the backlog for now. We're going to take the errors too, but let's just wire what we need so that we can achieve the goal of this lecture, which is to see our list, the right list in the state. Okay. So moving forward, we need our project board here so that we can declare the prop types. And then we're going to have obviously the backlog, prop types, object is required, and then the get backlog, prop types. Let me put on my glasses. Funk is required. I think my eyes are tired. Give me a second. Glasses on. Continue. All right, so now that we have this set up here, and let me just scroll here and leave it here for 1, 2, 3 seconds so that you guys can pause the video and type it out if I left you behind. And good thing that I did, because remember, you need to pass the map state to props to the connect. Okay, and with this in place, this should be good. All right, so leaving it there for a few seconds for you folks. All right, so here I'm just gonna put a comment here that we need a constructor to handle errors. Yeah, we're gonna handle some errors, but this is gonna be a future lecture. Okay, we're not gonna worry about this right now. We're just gonna worry on the happy path, which is loading the project tasks. Okay, so we need component did mount. Okay, and what the component did mount is going to do is obviously when it mounts, it's going to go to our server to get our backlog by ID. Now, how do we get the ID here? Good question. So as you remember, when you're on the dashboard, if you go to the project board, you know, when you load the project board, you pass this parameter. So we're just going to extract this, all right? Sorry if you hear background noise. I live close enough to the train tracks, and right now the train's going by. But I really don't want to stop this lecture. I hope this background noise is not too distracting for you. I'll listen to the lecture afterwards, and if it's not, then I'm just going to load it. Anyway, we want to extract this ID from our route, and I hope that this is all making sense now why I created those routes when we're working on the Java side of things, right? Because this is gonna help us extract the things we need. Okay, perfect. So now we have our component did mount set up, and I'm just gonna do a quick check here, but I'm almost completely certain that we are at a state where we should see things in our state. No point intended. All right, so now I'm going to navigate to my dashboard here. I am going to open inspect, and I'm going to go to my Redux Dev Tools. I'm going to go to my state here, and then what I want to see is my backlog. And when I go to the project board, I want to see the project tasks that are related to that specific project. Now, before we do this, I do want to bring you back to the database. And if I go to project tasks, we have three project tasks for test 1, and then we have 2 project tasks for refact. So let's do this now. Okay, so we are on test 1, and we see 3 project tasks, which are exactly the same project tasks that we have in the server 1, 3, and 4. And then we go back to our dashboard and we go to refact. And then if I come here to state, you guys can't see that, state here, state. Then I come to project tasks, and I have 2, 103, 104, which are exactly the same project tasks that we have on the database, and this worked. So far so good. We're making very good progress, guys. It is a beautiful Sunday, the end of September. So I think that I'm gonna try and finish this up today. Finish this section up today. Thank you.